Happy Monday, it's your boy Kevin Thornton. You have tuned in to the Wellness Architect Show with my lovely co-host Lotus Riche. Today is Monday, February the 3rd, 2020. It's going to be a great day in Atlanta. It's going to be a great month. This is my birthday month. So actually next week will be my birthday show. My birthday is actually next Tuesday, but we're going to celebrate it on the show on Monday. And with that show, we're going to have our February edition of the Men's Roundtable, where we're going to have a conversation with the millennials only. The millennials, we're going to get to know, because one of the things they said in the past 2 times is a lot of times we don't try to get to know who they are and what they're about. And instead of that, we just try to judge them based on their experience of other people. So we're going to have a sit-down conversation with some millennials to get to understanding who they are, what they're about, and where the disconnect they think might be between them and us. So with that, so please tune in for that. Share everybody about that, because we've been getting great feedback on that. So with that being said, I want to shout out to my lovely co-host, Lotus Riche. How you doing, ma'am?
Hey, Kevin, good to see you. How are you today? You looking sharp over there.
Thank you. I'm doing much better today.
Fantastic.
So what's the word for the day?
Okay, our word for today is self-awareness, and we're going right to Webster's dictionary. It says that self-awareness is an awareness of one's own personality or individuality. It is not to be confused with consciousness in the sense of qualia. While consciousness is being aware of one's environment and body and lifestyle, self-awareness is the recognition of that particular awareness. And with that being said, I want to give you 6 ways to improve your self-awareness. The first way that you can improve your self-awareness is ask people for feedback about things that you think that you may or may not be doing that may be important. And then you can identify and modify any incorrect views that you have established for yourself. Another thing is to recognize your strengths and your weaknesses, and to allow yourself to work on those weaknesses and continue to capitalize on the strengths. Another thing, number 3, is self-reflection. This unlocks thoughts in your mind and emotions that might otherwise be disregarded. So number 4 is monitor your self-talk. What is it that you talk to yourself about? What is it that you say about yourself? Do you say that you're a negative person? Do you say that you're positive? Do you say that you're beautiful? Do you say that you're unattractive? Do you say that you're intelligent or not? Monitor your self-talk. And many times you hear Kevin and I, we talk about that. That is super important, because you want to make sure that your self-talk is positive and that you celebrate your wins, okay? And don't dwell on your failures or things that you see as a failure, because all things that we see are failures are not always failures. And practice saying no. That's number 5. It's okay to say no, because sometimes you have to say no. You have to build a barrier. Sometimes we don't put up effective barriers, and then we're just a yes woman or a yes man, and that usually hurts us. So set yourself a goal for the numbers of temptations you will resist each day, and say no when you need to. And 6, and the final one, is question your decisions. Ensure that any decision that you make, make sure that they're good decisions by coming up with 3 reasons as to why you want to make the decision and why you don't. And if you have a question about your decision and you're still not clear, go to someone who's more wise than you, or someone who's doing what you aspire to do, and get clarity and guidance. And those 6 tips will help you improve your self-awareness.
Man, good job. We have an amazing guest for tonight's show, and what I want to do is throw it to you. Since you found this amazing gentleman, I want you to introduce him to the world for us today.
Well, some of you have already seen the post that Kevin did. It was amazing. And we have this awesome gentleman in front of us. He is the CEO of the Ojouk Well, I'm gonna let him introduce
Okay.
that, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna say this is brother Imamu Ojuku. Am I saying
Yeah.
that right?
Ojuok.
Ojuku.
But
Okay,
most
so
people just call me Baba Amin.
okay, yeah, and that's what I call him. So I want to invite you guys to call in and talk to him because tonight we're going to explore the academy, the Uyuru. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Okay, you
Hmm.
can tell us Americans, right? We mess everything up. So the
I say,
Uhuru Academy is in South Carolina. Okay, and it is for people of color, and that's all I'm going to say because
yeah,
Brother Amin is here and he's going to tell us all about the academy. So thank you for being
yes.
here.
Oh,
Kevin and
thanks
I
for
are so
having me.
delighted to have you.
No. I'm grateful and I'm humbled to have an opportunity to be on this platform tonight. I just like to say that this is beautiful. It's a beautiful setup, beautiful show. I love how you guys are doing things. We need more of our own platforms where we can tell our story. So you guys are greatly appreciated for
Uh,
everything that you're doing.
well,
So thanks for having me.
we
Thank you.
appreciate you,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
what Lois and I both try to do. We want to recognize everyone, but for
Yeah,
me myself, I'm very unapologetic and trying to showcase African American men doing great things because
I say.
I want to. My hashtag for 2020 is rebrand. So
Yeah,
I want to rebrand the thought pattern of how people see black men.
I say.
I
I
want to
say.
use this platform as a way to
Well,
showcase that.
it's our story to tell, and it's our
Absolutely,
Yes.
responsibility to do it.
absolutely,
Yes.
And that's what birthed the Uhuru Academy is that attitude that birthed our school, is sense of responsibility
absolutely,
that we are responsible for the education of our children, and that if we're not satisfied with what our tax dollars is paying for, then it's our
Yes.
obligation, excuse me, to create other options for ourselves
Yes.
and to be willing to do it, to be so serious about it that we're willing to do it with what we have in our hands while we organize and work to go get that money that we're paying into that system that's not giving us a return at the same
Right.
time. And so
absolutely.
it was that spirit that my wife and I always have to acknowledge my beautiful wife and Koyo Ojiwo. It was in that spirit that we launched the Uhuru Academy 10 years ago. Actually, we launched in Fort Worth, Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I
Yes.
was born and raised. And, all the African names, but I'm just a city boy from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And that we launched the Uhuru Academy
Mm-hmm.
beginning in 2010. We first
Right.
started out as an after school
Mm-hmm.
program where we taught African history,
Mm-hmm.
arts and crafts, and did academic tutoring. Then we started having spring break camps,
Mm-hmm.
then summer camps. And then me and my wife woke up one day and I told her, I'm walking off the corporate plantation and
Mm-hmm.
we're going to start this school. And we're going to
Yes.
walk on faith and we're going to get this thing done. And
Mm-hmm.
we started out in the back of an alternative school. A friend of mine who had an
Mm-hmm.
alternative school contract, he allowed me to use a classroom in the back of his school. So we were a true underground school when we started. We didn't ask permission. We didn't go get any type of certificates, nothing like that. We just said, these are our children. We're going to start a school. We're going to be private. So that means
Yes.
we don't belong to the system. We're a
Right.
private school. We charge a tuition
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we know a lot of our people aren't poor. We just spend our money poorly. We just need to teach our dollars some sense. So
Right.
we're gonna charge a tuition, and we're gonna talk to families about African-centered education and do our thing. So we started out with 3 students. We looked up one day and had 35 to 40 students right there in our campus in Fort Worth. Uh, we began to throw African-centered education conferences. I began to consult with other communities, going into other communities, helping them launch a school or launch programs. Some of the programs we've helped launch, we worked with Jay Prince and Ashley Prince, his daughter, in
Mm-hmm.
Houston to help launch the Prince Circle of Legends Academy. We've helped in Detroit. I want to shout out to my boy Ikaji. He's launched the Liberated Farms Academy, teaching STEAM, and agricultural science
Yes.
to young people. And I'm most excited about where we are right now with Uhuru Academy, South Carolina. And this is a
Yes.
team that I actually consulted 5 years ago when they came to the African Centered Education Conference in Texas. And from there, I came out here. They had a property. We launched a school out of that property. I moved on, went back to Texas. I had since closed my Fort Worth campus and went online. We have a full
Yes.
service 3rd grade through 12th grade online homeschool program now, right? And our team out here in South Carolina ended up buying 4 acres of land and putting the school on that land. So we have
Yes.
a private African Center school on Black-owned land right now in Columbia, South Carolina. My family and I, we've relocated out here to help build this project. And I want to shout out to E.I. Keontae and Yeye Ketri and the whole team here at Uhuru Academy SC. We're doing some powerful things out here. Powerful
Yes,
things.
you are. Yes,
Yes.
you are. And you said all that, but I don't think you told everybody that you're not just a part of the movement. You are the CEO and the
Oh,
founder.
absolutely. I am the
You and your
founder. Yes.
wife are the
Yes.
CEO and the founder. It's not
Yes.
like someone else started it and
Oh no,
here,
no.
you're
The
carrying
Uhuru
the
Academy
torch.
was born in my desk.
You sparked the torch.
Yes, yes,
And looking for others to help carry that torch, and that's phenomenal.
yes.
And just to be able to also do it in a brick and mortar and to do it online,
Hmm.
that's just phenomenal. So it gives us more options.
That's right. That's right.
So that's great.
That's right. We also homeschool coach. We have a lot
Right.
of parents out there, African American parents out there who are fed up, who would like to homeschool, but either don't have the expertise or don't have the material. So we
Right.
provide coaching for that,
Mhm.
and so we want to be a resource for our community. We want to have options.
Right.
We do webinars for youth.
Mhm.
I do a life skills motivational
Right.
webinar called Me Incorporated for young people
Right.
between the ages of 16 and 24 to help them get their life on track and
Right.
plan and we put some strategies in place. So we're here to be a resource, an African centered resource, which only
Exactly.
means that everything we teach from our perspective,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Awesome.
we teach our children, you can do math because math comes from you. You are math. You can write, you can read. Literacy comes from Africa. That's not putting nobody else down. It's just that the first books ever written were written by people who look like us. And if you could take ownership in a thing, then you will
Yes.
belong. You'll have a sense of belonging to it.
Right.
The achievement gap in school, part of the reason there is such an achievement gap is because everybody see themselves in the book except you.
That's powerful. That's a
Wow.
lot said. What are your thoughts on that, Kevin?
I believe to be true. I think part of the problem we have as a community is we don't have a sense of self. 'Cause we don't really know our true culture. We tend to adapt to the culture that is here in America because we really don't know what our African culture is. So I think what he's saying is very true, that if they have a sense of belonging and they know who their
Yes.
culture is, then they will feel more confident about who they are.
And
Yes.
perhaps they won't give it away like
Right.
previous generations has given it away. Because
Right.
what happens is that we create things and we add in that really change. We are the culture in America.
Right.
Right.
Black culture is, but we don't maintain institutional ownership of our culture.
Right.
And we need to train a generation. Okay, next somebody created hip hop is gonna own the hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
And
I'm just saying.
and that's one of the reasons why, because I looked at a couple of words of the day, but one of the words that resonated with me was the self-awareness. And when Brother Amin, when I reached out to him several months ago, I reached out to him because of a video that I saw, and he talked about self-awareness. And when people are really self-aware, they can understand their own value. And it's hard for people not to place value on themselves when they don't know where they've come from.
I say.
And I
If
gotta
you start
tell
your
you,
history in slavery,
Yes.
that's where you're gonna end up.
exactly.
You can't
And-
start your history in 1619. We were not put on this planet to serve white people first and achieve greatness later. That is not our story.
Right. And Kevin and Brother, I mean, a lot of people talk about this, and Daniel Pierce, she's a property preservationist and a tax
I know
lien
Danielle.
investor. Danielle talks about this often, and a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to her talk about people of color homeschooling their children. And her thought process was, we have all these problems in so many of these schools, but we have to take the initiative to stand up and either homeschool our children or look for other alternatives that will give our children a fighting chance. And Danielle, your Pierce as well, and
Yes,
she's
I've actually
phenomenal.
helped her homeschool her children.
There you go. So you know what I'm talking about. You know
Yes.
she's a powerful person, and for her
Absolutely.
to say that, it also makes you say, okay, where are my resources? So that's one of the biggest reasons that we brought him here today, everybody,
Yes.
because he's a resource. So those of you that's looking on and you like what he's saying, go ahead and put a number one right there. Put a number one in the comment and let us know that you like what he's saying, because it's super powerful, especially with what Kevin always tries to make sure he instills in the masses. We have to have people of color who love themselves. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Right.
You're a person of color. You got to love yourself. But he also further embraces the men. Why? Because you tell him why, Kevin.
Because we have the men have to be able to embrace the kings that they truly are, and we have to be the leaders in the foundation of our family and our community. And if the men are, their self-esteem is low, or they don't know where they came from, then they don't have the self-esteem or the power, I should say, to step in and be the leaders that they truly are. And so my whole thing is, we're kings and princes, and we should be 100% unapologetic in who we are and what we do, and stop asking for permission to be great, and just go ahead and be great.
Absolutely. And what African-centered education does, it allows us to define what that means. What does it mean to be a king? What responsibilities come with that? What is our legacy as far as family is concerned? One of the things we teach at the Uhuru Academy is that family is an African science. The first group of people to get together and say, you know what, we need to form a unit. We need to have each other's back. You know what, black man, you know what, woman, man, we need to be a unit. We need to complement one another, raise these children together and learn our environment together. There's a science to family. There's a reason why it's structured the way that it's structured. Where does that structure come from? Why was that structure put in place? Has an African ever been a king? What kind of king? Who are some African kings? Who are some African queens, right? How do you own land? Where does that come from? Is there power in ownership? What kind of power is in ownership? School education is about asking questions. It's not, I tell my students all the time, it's not about having the answers. It's about having the right questions. You have the right questions, they'll lead you to the answer. The answers will take care of themselves. And that's what African-centered education does. It reminds our people that you have the right to ask questions. You have that right. You don't have to sit up and act like you know. Sometimes you get in an assimilation mindset. You think everywhere you go, you have to act like you got to fake it to make it wherever you go. Because you're in an assimilation mindset. I'm going to get in trouble if somebody find out that I don't know. No. How you going to know if you don't ask? How you going to know if you're not taught? So our approach is to empower our students to ask those questions, to enhance their vocabulary, to enhance their skill set, to give them a story, a backdrop, a foundation to build off of. So when they approach the world, they approach it feeling strong enough, brave enough, and protected enough to demand the best, to ask for the best, to know the best when they see it, and to capitalize on it.
Yes. So those of you that's coming in, you are listening to the CEO and founder of the Uhuru,
which is Swahili for freedom.
Uhuru Academy, based out of South Carolina. And if you have any questions, don't forget, down below, put your message down below. We want to know who you are, where you're coming from, where you're tuning in from. And if you are looking for an academy in South Carolina, or want an academy started where you are, put that information down below too, because tonight we're going to answer some powerful questions that we've had for a long time. And Brother Amin is right here to do it.
I say that's what we're here for. Again, we are located here in South Carolina. If you're in the Columbia area, definitely you have access to our campus, our on-campus program. But if you're not, I have students from all over the country that I homeschool from 8 in the morning to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I have students in Washington State. I have students in California. I have students in Atlanta. I have students in Chicago. So wherever you are in the continent of the United States, we have an online homeschool that can also be of use as well. So yes. There are several things that we can do. You can also bring me in. I've gone into communities like I mentioned earlier, and I can help you build a group. If there's a group of parents that say, you know what, we want to homeschool our children, we want to start a school or a homeschool co-op, we'll come in and train you. We'll consult with you, and so we're here. And it's imperative. We're losing our children in schools. not just to the school to prison pipeline, which is serious. Not just the special ed, the misdiagnosis, which is serious. Not just to the drugs that they're putting your children on inside the school system, because that's serious as well. But even the children that are graduating,
yes,
even the ones that are graduating underserved. They're graduating unprepared. They're graduating without a plan, and they're ending up underemployed, unemployed, with no idea on how to create employment for themselves. And there are so many opportunities out there, so many things you can do to generate income for yourself legally. Our children aren't being exposed to that. So what kind of situation is that when you already know you're the last one that they're gonna hire, but at the same time, ain't nobody teaching you how to hire yourself? We teach entrepreneurship at the Hoover Academy starting in 3rd grade. It's a class just like math, just like English, just like anything else. You're gonna learn entrepreneurship at our school, period, point blank. You're gonna learn how to grow your own food. We have a 1-acre farm here on our campus here in Clemens, South Carolina. So we're developing an agri-science curriculum and program here that's going to be second to none. We're building a model, an independent model that other communities that are serious will be able to emulate, follow, and build upon. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
So,
awesome.
I understand the reason why you're doing it. Was explain to the listeners why it's important to start at an early age with the kids to teaching entrepreneurship, to get that started instead of them trying to wait until they're grown to figure out what entrepreneurship it really is.
Because number one, we teach entrepreneurship more so as a mindset and a way of life than just you got to own a business. We don't teach our children you have to own a business. We teach our children you are your business. You are a business. Right. Me Incorporated, ME, Mission Empowerment Incorporated. You are your own business, and we want them to take an ownership mindset from the jump. There's so many transferable skills that you can teach when you're teaching entrepreneurship. You're teaching responsibility. You're teaching effective planning. You're teaching communication skills at an early age. We have our children to, for example, create your own business today. I want a title. I want a motto. Now I'm going to put y'all in groups, and I want y'all to create a commercial for your business, right? They're having fun. They're doing a skit, but they're developing very important skills at the same time, right? And so now we have in our vocabulary curriculum, our students every week, they get 1 to 2 words that's your special word. You have 20 words, but there are 2 words that's your special word that you have to do a PowerPoint presentation on that word and present it to the class, right? And so now you're building up the confidence. Our students won't have a problem presenting themselves to anyone because they're like, I've been doing presentations since I was 8 years old. I'm not nervous right now. Right. So those, it's the transferable skills that come along with it. It's the ownership mindset to where when they get of age, it's not a matter of I have to start my own business because I can't get a job. No, I'm looking to employ myself first. I'm looking to employ myself while I'm looking for a job. I'm here to employ myself while I'm in college. I'm gonna be the only one in the dorm that ain't broke.
Yep. And brother, the positive things that we're hearing from you, in short, it's telling folks, you could dream big. Yes. Dream big. And a lot of the reasons that even Les Brown has said this to many of his audiences, the problem is not that people shoot too high and miss, it's that they shoot too low and they hit. But again, like you said, you're teaching children about business ownership from the 3rd grade. So they're already dreaming big, and they are going to move into hitting the target of the big dream more accurately than the lower target that they set so low, because guess what? Just thought of this. They're not even going to set a low target because you're teaching them in 3rd grade to aim high.
And we're teaching them to dream big and plan bigger.
Yep. So I've got a couple of things, Kev. I've got a couple of folks that's online with us, and a couple of them have a couple of questions for them.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so first I want to thanks everybody for coming on, tuning in with us. Absolutely. Of course, those of you that's just coming on, we have a phenomenal CEO and founder of the Uhuru
Yes. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
We
I'm gonna
getting
get
there.
that
We
right.
getting there. It gets better every
Uhuru.
time.
See, education. Uhuru Academy.
I say.
Okay. And he's here talking to us, enlightening us about the fact that there are other options than just public schools and other private schools that don't really teach people of color about their heritage and other things that they need to learn early on in life. So thank you for coming and joining us. I want to say hi to Daisy, hi to Sandra, hi to Angela, hi to everybody from Japan that's watching and everywhere else. And I have Dr. Brooks. Dr. Brooks said he is exactly right. If we don't educate our children and create opportunities for them, what will their future be? And then she also said that she needs to talk to you. Okay. She needs to talk to you about bringing this into Augusta because, this is exactly what she saw in her vision. So great.
We
And
actually
Angie
have a couple
asked,
of elders out of Augusta that come visit the school every Thursday
awesome.
to volunteer. They drive from Augusta. Baba Kwaku, he drives from Augusta to Columbia, South Carolina every Thursday to teach our children the basics of self-defense and he runs them through some exercise regimens, the whole 9 yards. So we have some links in Augusta. I'm definitely want to get with Dr. Brooks.
So wait a minute. Kev, did you hear what he just said?
Yep.
Now, at first you said that you start them out building them up intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually, but you also teaching them how to build themselves up so they can defend themselves if they're ever needing to defend themselves, which is phenomenal because Kev, he's a trainer. He's the spin doctor.
Oh, okay.
So he's the man of wellness. So you're also teaching them wellness.
Oh, absolutely. We have a whole health and wellness curriculum. Our menu, our breakfast and lunch menu is all organic, all green, all vegan, all organic. So
I love it.
And we teach our children the menu. So when they're coming, you know exactly what you're eating. Mm-hmm. They're going to learn about what vitamins they're getting that day. They're going to learn about what this herb does, what this vegetable does for you. And we have the sisters like Iya Chiante and Yeye. They're certified vegan chefs. So they're in that thing just really whipping it up. And it is, lunch is off the chain.
So
but
you
lunch
don't have
is a class.
Kev, he said they have chefs, not
vegan.
cooks.
Yeah, we have chefs.
Vegan
chefs.
Yes, we have chefs that are taking organic vegetables and organic fruit and making miracles happen on a daily basis. We're also in the process of, again, putting that together. We want to put together like a digital recipe book that we're feeding our children here, to provide for our parents and provide other families. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with behavior issues, the behavior's linked to diet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The behavior's linked to diet. So how do we empower parents to shift that diet? Instead of putting them on a pill, put them on some beets. You might need to put them on some asparagus or something. Instead of putting them on Ritalin, you may need to take some of that sugar out of the diet, some of that high fructose corn syrup out of the diet. And it might be tough for the baby to make the transition initially, but it's going to be better than when that baby grows up and say, you know what? I can't control myself. I need drugs to control myself.
So I have a question.
They gave me in school.
So I have a question because I really like that. So the kids are eating a vegan food while they're there.
Yes.
So has the parents jumped on board with this? So then therefore when they eat dinner, they still going through the same thing? Or how's that been going?
What? That happens gradually, but it happens. So you see parents transforming because the children are going home and talking about it. And then when we have school functions, that's the menu at the school function. So parents are getting hip to it then too, right? Mm-hmm. So that influence is happening. We don't pressure the parents, but when parents see the difference, they get curious and then they want to be empowered as well. So yes, we become a resource for the parents as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've seen whole family dynamics shift from the school on out. And that's why it's important that we put schools in our communities. I talk to pastors in my hometown and I'm like, you know what? Every church in this community needs to be a school, some sort of education center. Start from the school on out. When the baby's performing, when the baby say it, it convicts the parents. Right. I can preach it all day long. But when your 8-year-old get up and know more history than you do, knows more health and wellness than you do, knows more about real estate than you do, knows more about entrepreneurship than you do, what is that going to do? It's going to convict you to get on. It's going to remind you that, you know what, I'm smart too. You came from me. I'm smart. When did I stop learning?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's almost
like what it's almost like what Steve Harvey did, the show, Am I Smarter Than a 5-year-old or
mm-hmm.
fifth grader, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once they show us that okay, you guys had a little kid on one of the videos. Kevin, I think I sent this video to you. I kid you not. This little kid on the video, he was in class naming all the bones in the body and was pointing to them. Now, they had a chart.
Now that clip was actually from a comrade of mine, Marcus Klein, who has the Freedom Home Academy in Chicago. And he has a call and response curriculum called the Klein Method that is off the chain. Y'all, there are resources out there, you know. And even inside the Uhuru Academy, we use call and response with our history and with a lot of our math concepts as well. It is amazing the amount of information that our young people can retain and give out, you know. And so we just have to push them and challenge them there. That's all. They want it, y'all.
We have a question for you.
Sure.
Angie out of DC says, how can children get started? Who should they turn to?
Okay. As far as with the program?
Yes.
Okay, to get started with the program, you just visit the uhuruacademy.com or you can visit uhuruacademysc.org. Okay. And all the information is there on the site. You'll be able to go to the program that you're interested in, click on that. There's an online registration process. Once you look at that, it bings me. Once you leave your information, it hits me. I get back with you within 24 to 48 hours or somebody on my team, and then we'll set up a meeting and then we'll talk and see what's best for the family. Real easy.
So when you're able to, would you please put the information down below so that our viewers can have that information right at their fingertips, and even after the show, I'll go back and look and make sure that the information is there, because this is very pertinent information. Yes. And Dr. Brooks also chimed in and she said, we used to be that way in our community, but we walked away.
I say, we're not doing anything new, you know. We had to educate ourselves. The whole public school movement in America was sparked by Black people coming off the plantation. We wanted two things. We wanted land and we wanted education. We wanted land and we wanted education. That's what our ancestors were pushing for. Folk didn't want to be around us. That is fine. We started our own schools ourselves and worked with what we had. And now you have a public education system that was really sparked by that movement, right? There's been an African-centered education movement in this country since the late 60s. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. There are African-centered schools still open throughout the country doing great things, great things. We're standing on their shoulders and locked arms with those programs as well. So it's out here, y'all. We're out here and we're ready. We're telling the community that we have a product, that we have a models, plural, that can seriously, directly address many of the issues that we're having with our children, but also will prepare our children to be the leaders of the future that they are meant to be.
Right. So this is a question I had for you. When you started out, you were saying that the academy isn't about, oh, we don't like other nationalities. The academy is more like we love ourselves.
Yes.
And it's built on the premise of love, not just, we love ourselves and we love all people, but we're falling more in love with ourselves.
Well,
I picked up.
I've been in a couple of bad relationships in my life. Luckily, my marriage ain't one of them. But one of the main problems in some of the relationships I had was that I didn't love myself enough to love someone else properly.
Right.
right? And so if we don't know how to love us, if you walk to the table of humanity saying, I love all y'all, but you don't like you don't even know how to love them.
Exactly. That's true.
Because you're going to become codependent because they become your identity. You need their friendship to feel good about yourself. That's unfair to them.
Right.
That's unfair to humanity that we walk in and say, I'm going to wear my hair like you. I'm going to talk like you. I'm going to dress like you. Will you love me? Gosh, okay. No one likes a copycat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No. Who are you? Love yourself. The respect that everyone else is going to have for you is going to reflect the respect you have for yourself. So if you think you're going to make it by, I grew up on a formula of grow up and get out the hood. Grow up, go to college, get a degree, and get as far away from Black folks as you can. And I was told by teachers, because you're dark skinned, you need to learn how to smile even more because you'll look threatening because you're dark skinned. So I was given assimilation training. I was taught that you have to change and be something different in order to be accepted. But what does that do? So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that to my children. I got to make sure I have a light-skinned wife so I don't have dark kids.
Wow.
So they won't have these problems.
Wow.
That's the winning formula?
Wow.
No, you go to the table of humanity proud. You go to the table of humanity when the Greeks stand up and say, yes, as my ancestors developed mathematics. You say, well, hold on. With all due respect, your ancestors learned everything from my ancestors. I ain't being funny. That's the proof. It is what it is. I belong at this table too. And I've been at this. As a matter of fact, my ancestors built the table of civilization. I ain't being funny. I'm just saying I don't have to look like somebody else in order to be here. So this is about love. It's also about understanding who your friends are. Your friends want for you what you want for yourself. If your friend sees you celebrating you and they become threatened by you celebrating you, then you have to analyze that friendship.
Yes. You know, we have Kentaro Suzuki is watching, I think from Japan. We have Zanetta or Zanetta Mael. Hey there, how you doing, Z? Former, recently retired military. Mrs. Mael, good to see you. Thanks for joining us, and everybody else that are coming in. Thank you. Please come in. And if you like what our brother, Mr. Amin, is saying to you about how we can help enhance our education system for our young children and how we can give them a greater sense of pride within themselves and greater sense of self-awareness, go ahead and put a number 2 down below this time. Put a number 2 down below this time and come on in and go ahead, please put your questions in there. Go ahead and start a watch party on your channel so that people can see this, because this is some powerful information. It's not about disliking this person or that person, but it's about loving ourselves enough to make sure we seek out all of the opportunities that are before us when it comes to education unapologetically. And that's Kevin's word, right?
Yes,
Kevin?
ma'am. Because at the end of the day, we've been taught and trained not to love ourselves. So then therefore we can't work in corporate America with dreadlocks. We can't, you know, they don't want the women having afros, all the type of stuff. You know, I'm a darker complected young man, so I understand what he said. You know, I've been told to smile more because I look very intimidating, unapproachable, and all that type of stuff like that. And I just feel that if me not smiling or me how I look is unapproachable to you, that's not an issue with me. It's an issue within yourself that you have to fix.
Right.
And so, but then that goes to the self-love that I was taught by my parents, and everybody doesn't have that. So, you know, I'm not going to change the essence of who I am to make you feel comfortable around me. You know, that's something that you have to deal with within yourself. And so I appreciate what you're doing and what you're instilling with these young kids at an early age, because once we get out of school and we start trying to work in corporate America or whatever, I think everybody do the whole fake it till you make it mentality, because they feel they gotta do what they need to do to survive instead of just doing something what they, you know, being truly 100% unapologetic of who they are And if they're not willing to employ you, there's opportunities where you can employ yourself, like you said.
I say.
Right.
I mean, think
Right.
about it. We have black people with master's degrees, black people with PhDs, and if they lost their job tomorrow, wouldn't know how to turn a dollar over for themselves, and they're masters and doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it will be rooted in a lack of confidence, not in a lack of knowledge, but in a
Right.
lack of confidence and courage
Right.
to get out there, print that business card out, and stand up and make something happen for yourself.
Mm-hmm. I think also a lot of times it stems from we are conditioned working for a lot of different companies. We are conditioned that we can only go so high. So that glass ceiling that is over our heads working for other corporations gives us some type of inferiority complex, in my
Yes.
opinion, in that if we were to lose our job today or tomorrow, we couldn't go out and do it for ourselves. And Kevin has hit that wall. I have hit that
Mm-hmm.
wall. And
I mean,
then
me
we
too.
were called, come on, work for us, work for us. And what did we say, Kevin?
I had to. I had to, but I had to, everything that the brother said, I completely understand. You know, you at some point you have to say enough is enough. You know, and do something that you feel that you're being called to do, and the initial grind is gonna be tough in the beginning,
Absolutely.
because you're not, you have to condition your mindset that you're not gonna be able to live the same lifestyle that you did in the beginning. But if you know you
Right.
keep on putting the work behind it, that you're gonna be able to live that lifestyle and better,
Yes.
Say,
and better.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
but
and
so
that's the beautiful thing. Like with this, we started 10 years ago, and I'm not rich by no means, it's not designed for that, but being in this, it taught me the power of ownership, right? And now that we have some land, and now that, that we own what we have, and I live where I work, my expenses aren't way up here, and so one of the things that we do when we do get out here, in corporate America, is not so much that we can't do for ourselves, is that a lot of times we get trapped into our own expenses and how we've chosen to live, trapped in our credit cards, trapped into some of the things that we feel like that you're supposed to do when you make it, the money you think you're supposed to spend when you quote unquote make it, and you kind of get trapped in that. And you in the debt and that sort of thing. We're dealing with student loans. There are so many things that we're playing catch up with.
Yes.
While we so-called made it, that kind of keeps you in that arena, keeps you right there, and like, no, I'm up to here in debt already. I can't really I'm not trying to explore any other options.
right. And what you said is very true too, is because a lot of times as they go up the ladder, as their title gets higher, they feel they need to have a certain type of car or a certain type of clothing lifestyle that matches the title that they have it. And so a lot of times, that's the mindset that we have to change too, because the title, the job title, does not define who we are. And we don't need the type of car. Like I have a buddy who said, I'm a VP now, so I need to get a car that represents a VP status.
Yes.
So that's the
I
wrong
have friends
mindset.
that all they can do is remind you of how many degrees they have.
Right.
But it's almost like it's a name. Like, and that's fine. Be proud of your accomplishments. But what happens with us, and I've seen it because I've worked with young people, I've worked with people in the streets, and I've worked with people, what they say, from the guttermost to the uttermost, right? And I see this exact same identity crisis. To whereas when I become this gang member, this gang, that's my identity. I have no other cultural identity to be proud of. It's this gang, right? And it's that lack of a cultural identity that kind of keeps me stuck here, not seeing myself anywhere else. Well, some of us, we in corporate America, and the job becomes the cultural identity because there's no one's reinforced a cultural identity that's going to be yours, that you could be proud of, whether you work for the sanitation department or whether you work for the president.
I agree. What you think,
And that's
Lotus?
what African-centered education does.
I wanted to share this with you. I this on Easy Money because I was looking the other day and it talked about being wealthy. But first, I wanted to go back to something you said, brother. I mean, you said that you're not wealthy by no means, and I beg to differ. And I say that because
I
you
say,
are wealthy because you have such a wealth of knowledge and self-awareness that the
say,
average person that's walking around brushing up next to us on, on the street each day do not have. So that's a sense of
receive that.
wealth, and furthermore, the wealth of money, the government can take it from you at any time, and it's
Mhm.
called taxes.
Say.
It's called assessments.
And they're very good
Okay,
at
and
it.
and the money that you think you have when the banks close down their doors and you can't get to that money in the bank and you don't know how to turn another dollar, what do you
Mm,
have, brother? You have knowledge to go out and replicate everything you did before.
say,
So I had to trickle back and say you are wealthy
I
because
say,
what
I
you think
receive that.
about, you bring about.
I
and
receive
and I
that.
wanted to
Absolutely.
share this from Easy Money because it was a phenomenal point that Easy Money made. It says, "Stop acting rich. The house you buy determines your wealth." It talked about that, how an expensive home can impact your wealth negatively. Pardon me. It
Say,
says, what we don't realize is that the true cost of living in certain homes and neighborhoods is unseen, but truly devastating. I believe the greatest determinant to building wealth is our home / neighborhood environment. If you live in a pricey home and neighborhood, you will act and buy like your neighbors. That's when we're living like the Joneses, right? Trying to keep up with them. In other words, human beings have an innate tendency to act and be like those around them to fit in and even compete. The type of home we live in and where we choose to live often takes the greatest toll on our financial wealth, and from it, all other perils flow. So, I wanted to share that because one thing that you're teaching these children in third grade is how to
yes,
understand their worth, their value, their self understand and have self esteem and self awareness, but
yes.
also you're teaching them the magnetics, and the magnetics, what draws to you, and the
I say,
mechanics, the how to of wealth. And
yes,
wealth starts at a very early age.
yes, it
That's
does.
why people who are wealthy typically continue to be wealthy, and people who are poor typically continue to be poor because they have poor thinking, and those who are wealthy have wealthy thinking
I
and wealthy
say,
behaviors. There was an article that came out that talked about the average millionaire does not live in a house over $300,000. Now,
mm,
some do, but many, many, many don't. And I'll have to get the information of where I saw that about a week or so ago.
yes, yes,
So my question is, so do you have a garden now, or are you guys growing a garden? Because
yes. We are actually because this campus was purchased just this summer.
okay,
And so we're developing our farm right now. We're working with local black farmers here.
hmm
I love South Carolina. There's some black folks with some land out here. Uh, we're working with local black farmers out here, getting it together. We have an elder working with us, one of our teachers, Dr. Asanya, who is just a treasure trove of knowledge. Also, our main patriarch out here is Bob Ken, and he can build everything. And we've laid our hot box. We built a couple of hot boxes. We have seedlings going right now.
hmm
We've turned over the soil. We're knocking down trees and bushes, and we are laying the foundation. We will be planting this spring and this summer,
I,
and by
Awesome.
next year we'll be bringing in our own vegetables to eat lunch
I
right out
like
of
I
our own
like that
garden.
because I think, especially with me growing up, my grandparents always had gardens. My
Hmm.
my parents had gardens for the longest, and I just
Yes.
think that's something that we as a culture stopped doing. Why we
Hmm.
stopped doing, I don't know why,
Yes.
because
Yes.
I think if we plant our own food, then we could control what we're eating and what's put on there.
We talk about the health disparities in this society. We talk about the lack of adequate medical treatment that African people receive. We talk about the ingredients that are in the foods that are in the stores. Well, what do you do about it? What do you do about it? How do you shift the eating? You're not going to change them. They're making a profit off of your demise. It's profitable.
Right.
They're not going to change. There's money in treatment. Ain't no money in the cure. It's money in you having diabetes for 30 years. It's money in that.
Exactly. And even with the fact that, the whole movement of people going plant-based and vegan, they're going to find a way to make money off of that as well.
Yeah. So now it's to the point where when you want to go plant-based, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like they're taxing you for it.
Yeah, but then my question becomes, everything that you see now, it's got that name organic on it. So it begs the question, is this stuff really organic?
Absolutely. What is
or are
organic?
They just
what is
legally
organic?
Right.
Yeah. Because they'll tell you your water is healthy. They'll tell you your tap water is healthy, but there's still lead in it. It's just not enough lead to kill you today.
Right. Just over time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So they set the standard of what that is. But if you're growing it yourself, and it really hit me too when we was developing the school. We had a lot of immigrants from the continent that were coming into Texas, and they were being moved into the hood, quote unquote.
Yes.
Right. And we noticed in the apartments, well, we don't own the apartments, but we would notice in the apartments in front of the immigrants' door, they were all planting gardens right there in that little plot of land in the apartment, and it's just that level of awareness. I'm like, but wait, people laughing at them, and I'm looking there like, but they don't have to go to the corner store and get that crap. Right. And then through them seeds out, they making groceries right there on that little piece of land. You can produce so much food just on a quarter acre of land that is ridiculous. You can feed a community, you can feed your whole community on less than an acre of land. Hunger is not something that has to exist. It's something that exists because there's profit in withholding food. That's it. Hunger does not have to exist. And so that's the thing. And it offsets when you're unemployed, but you can still grow food. If there's still a food co-op around and you're going to eat. When you go to countries like Belize and other countries, we say, oh, them some poor countries, but a lot of them, they ain't hungry.
Yeah. And a lot of them are very healthy because they live off the land.
They're living off the land.
And to Kevin's point, and I'm happy Kevin talked about that, that we used to live off the land, because if you look in years gone by, many of our ancestors lived off the land. They grew what they ate, and there was more longevity in their lives, unless they caught some type of virus or flu that was going around that they couldn't overcome because it was created to cause demise. But other than that, we had people living off the land, and they weren't having these afflictions of cancer and diabetes and fibromyalgia and all these diseases that we're experiencing today.
One of my parents just joined the live. Her name is Teresa Gully, and she may not jump on, but she's joining the live right now. Teresa's son, Vincent, has been with me. I think this is his 4th year with me, and she's an amazing parent, because not only did she take her son out of the public school system that were trying to label him, they were trying to put him in special ed, put him on medicine, right? This boy is a genius, okay? He's a pilot. He already knows that he's a pilot. She brought him to a Hoover Academy, and then she shifted his diet to where it's pretty much all organic. And she stuck with him while they made that transition. And now Vincent is operating 2 grades ahead of where he would be in public school.
Yes.
With a plan for his life. And it's a combination of our program, but also a combination of a powerful parent in her and Big V, her husband, her and Big Vincent, corralling around their son and providing him with the best of food for his body, as well as the best food for his mind.
So we have someone from California, Lakeisha Anderson. She had a comment for us. She said, we as African Americans don't look at wealth in any other way but financially. We look at rappers, sportsmen, and others as wealthy. And in ways they are. But wealth is not measured by cars and diamonds. This is part of what drives the negative ways to
Okay.
gain what we think
Right.
wealth is in our community. So thank you, Mrs. Anderson,
Absolutely.
for adding that to this connection. And for those of
Yes.
you that's coming on or that's with us, we're happy to have you here. Please go ahead and post your comments. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put them down and we'll try to get them answered for you. And also, if you have not started a watch party, go ahead and start a watch party. Go
I
ahead and
say.
like, share. And if you
Absolutely.
like what the brother is talking about, please this time go ahead and put a 3 in the comment below. Miss Anderson put a 3. Miss Mayel put a 3. Suzuki, Elting, Daisy, everybody put a 3. And I see we've got a lot of hearts and love going up. So we thank you. And Teresa Gully, we see you. She said, yes, those
I
public
say,
schools
Miss
are
Gully.
not for our children. So thank you.
I say. Black failure is big business.
Exactly. And,
Black failure is big business.
and with this
Really.
being, Black History Month, you would think the same part about we learn about the same people every year.
Yeah.
And so we're not aware of all the other people within here, but also in Africa that has done great things for us.
Right.
Right.
So it's up to us to try to fill in the blanks where the schools is not going to teach us because
Yeah.
they
We have to take control of our narrative.
absolutely
We have to take control of our narrative. We have to take control of our story. And because a lot of history is subjective. A lot of history is up for interpretation. You and I can experience the same thing, and your viewpoint on it be completely different than what mine is. That's
Right.
why you got First Baptist, Third Baptist, Fifth Baptist, and Sixth Baptist on the rock. Everybody got the same Bible, but for some reason, everybody's seeing something different because it's about perspective. And if your perspective is not feeding you, if your perspective is not helping you gain, then it's time to explore another perspective. Maybe we're not looking at this thing the way it needs to be looked at by us.
Yes.
right.
So Kevin, we got some 3s in there. We got some 3s. So they're liking what you're saying
I
unequivocally.
say, give
Yes.
thanks. Give
Yes.
thanks.
And what I want to say too, what you say is very true, is that we have to be able to change the narrative. Is we gotta stop waiting for mainstream media and all these other outlets to change the narrative how they see us. It's up to us,
Yeah.
our platforms and what we do to change the narrative. This is why I can tell Lois all the time. I tell the listeners, this is why I showcase people like you and other people because you will never be shown on mainstream TV because they don't really want someone like you to be seen.
I say, and I don't even want to be on there. They gonna sound bite, clip it up, slice it up, and turn it into something that it wasn't even supposed to be. Because guess what? They're gonna control the narrative. It's their
Right.
platform.
Right. So then, therefore, this being our platform, this is your opportunity to control the narrative. I can control the narrative
That's
of
right.
how I want, my listeners to see us as a community and us as Black men and what we're doing to help our children and help our community be great. So
Yeah. Well, see, what happens when we build our own platforms? You and I can have a symbiotic relationship because this story benefits you as well.
right.
Your success benefits me as well, and it'll benefit those that support your platform. The Fox News has sponsors that are fully vested in Black failure.
Right.
They're fully vested in the prison system. They're fully vested in systemic racism. They're vested in it. So they can't fight that. They'll lose sponsors.
Right. Right.
Right. So
That's
so
right.
so we have to have, if we want our story to be told, we have to tell it. And they're only mainstream because we make them main.
Right.
You
That's a
know,
good point.
what's our mainstream? We can stream wherever we want to. We have to raise a generation of children that just won't be on Facebook. They can build a better one. They
Yes.
just won't download apps and play games. They can design the games. They can build the
Right.
phones. They know the minerals. They know from the mineral that goes into to the component to the component itself, to how to put those components together to make the machine work. They need to know how to do that. They need to not believe that the internet is something that just exists like Jesus, like God or something. Like it's the internet. How does the internet exist? What is an internet? Is it the internet or is it just a internet? How many internets are there? Can we build an internet that no one else can look at but us? We need a generation of children that can not only ask that question, but they can go and explore the answers.
That's a great question, because I was talking to Wanda D. Hollis of Wake Up Winning for Entrepreneurs. And what I shared with her was this. The other day we wanted to send you something out. Well, I wanted to send you something out yesterday. And I couldn't. My hands was kind of tied, and Kev was trying to get up with you, and I couldn't, because I had sent out some information about the coronavirus, that it can Lysol can help neutralize it. So say Lysol, okay, on the back of the can. Yeah. And I sent that out to a plethora of people. Well, lo and behold, maybe I sent too many out at one time, but Facebook sent me a message back saying, you can't send nothing out until tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. And in my mind, I was like, okay, we need to have a better way.
I say, I mean, look, it's called capitalism for a reason.
Yes.
And I'm not a capitalist ideologically, but I do believe in capitalizing on trends, capitalizing on what's out there, and building to become producers of a thing. Right. And y'all, our children in the public schools are not getting the same education as other children.
No.
Exactly.
Okay. Now that's a fact. Okay. But there are options. There are ways to there's an education for our children that will defeat racism. You know what I'm saying? That will revitalize our community. There is an education that they can receive. We have to give it to them, though.
So I'd like to challenge everybody that's listening. Those of you that's listening that are on board, can you put down below if you're a taxpayer? If you're a taxpayer, please put down below I am, because I have a question for Brother Amen. And this question is geared toward what he just said. If you are a taxpayer, put down below that you are a taxpayer. Now, Kevin, you are the entrepreneur. You work for yourself, right?
Right.
Are you a taxpayer?
I am.
Okay. I'm a taxpayer too, so I'm gonna use my phone right now, and I'm gonna put I am a taxpayer. I'm gonna put the whole thing. Okay. If you are a taxpayer, this is the question. Go ahead. I am a taxpayer, or you can put I am. If you a taxpayer and you sending your children to school, any school, public or private school, and your child is not getting the same education as other children in other districts, which are maybe in more affluent areas or what have you, how does that make you feel? That's the question, because you're paying the same taxes as your counterparts. And we're not just talking about, when we say our counterparts, we're talking about every culture in America. Every culture in America is your counterpart in some shape, form, or fashion, because you go and you patronize their stores, you patronize their restaurants, you go and you work for their jobs. So how does that make you feel? I dare someone to go ahead and put a comment down below so that we can talk about that, because that what the brother just raised is just true. We paying taxes. We're right here in America, but our children aren't being treated the same way. And it took someone like you to bring this school about.
Yes.
So yes. I just give you the utmost praise and thanks. I feel so grateful for you and for what you have brought to the earth plane.
This is a movement, and our children are worth it. They're our most valuable resource. Black youth are a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Black youth have been moving mountains in this world forever. The civil rights movement was a Black youth movement. The Black Power movement was a Black youth movement. You understand? When you look at Division I sports, those are Black youth helping white institutions generate billions of dollars. Even in the area of technology, there are Black youth in Africa, Black youth here that are doing cutting edge work right now that are not getting recognition. Black youth, if you want to go negative, the prison system fueled by what? Black youth. You understand what I'm saying? Everyone's getting paid off of Black children, except the Black community.
Yes. And I shared this with Kevin too, that when I was traveling and when I lived over in Japan and I traveled to other countries, most of the people everywhere I went, they were in awe of people of color. They wanted to be us. They mimicked our style. They mimicked our dress. And look at every culture on the planet right now. Look on some of these shows, Dancing with Stars and all that stuff. What type of dance are they using? Look at the rap music. Every culture has, in some shape, form, or fashion, embraced the rap music and they're using it. Matter of fact, look at the Super Bowl.
If they can have Black culture without Black people, that'd be they win-win.
Look at the Super Bowl yesterday.
Yes.
Look at how many rap artists participated there. And I'm not just talking about the quote unquote African American. Look at our Latino brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah. But even and you can see the African culture in what they were doing. As far as Shakira and J-Lo shaking their booty, that's our stuff.
Yeah, and our Asian sisters were on the stage. It's just amazing.
There's a magnetism. Something special happened within our ma'afa. Which in shout out to Dr. Marimba Ani for coining the phrase ma'afa to describe our Holocaust, which means the great disaster. Something came up out of that. A special people came up out of that has become a beacon for the world, what probably most magnetic people to walk this planet in generations, in thousands of years, and that's us. And it's where the world is determined to hate you, but can't resist you at the same time.
Yes.
Wants to emulate you, wants to walk like you, talk like you. They look and they see how you persevered through the worst form of slavery ever inflicted upon another people. How did you survive? It wasn't designed for your survival. How did you come out of it praying? How did you come out of it laughing? How did you come out of it competitive with the very people who enslaved you in the first place? They had a 300-year head start. How did you come out of it in 1865 and be in the Senate by 1875? How did you do that?
It's like a wonderful author of Stripes, Stars, or Strength, Stripes, and Lipsticks said, Miss Jennifer McNeil. She said, we have intestinal fortitude.
Serious intestinal and a spiritual fortitude.
Yes. And we have, Kev, several people that chimed in. We have Fulami Xavier. She said, I am a taxpayer. Angie Lakisa out of California, and Angela Elting said, yes, our children are the movement. They can change the future. And for those of you chiming in, thank you. Please put down below where you're chiming in from. If you are a influencer, if you are a speaker or what have you, please let us know what you do. Put your information down below, because Kevin is always working so hard to bring awareness and welcome people to the table to have their say.
Thank you, first of all, for saying that. Two, something that the brother said that is true. We come down to creating our own media. And, and we know they, like you said, Fox and CNN, all of them, they have sponsorship. If you don't like what we are doing, feel free to contribute to us. I'll have Lotus put our information in the comments section so we could continue to bring people like Brother Amin to the show. You know, we've been going 3 years strong. We want, you know, we're growing every year, and we want to be able to bring more people like him and, you know, and others on there so we could continue to inspire, educate, and empower our community to be the best version of themselves. So, you know,
I mean, think about it, brother. How many of us have accounts that come out of our bank account monthly automatic that we don't even use?
right.
It's a $13 from Apple TV, $14 a month. Take that money from Apple TV and put it on Manifest TV.
Yes. Yes.
Just shift it. Shift that Hulu money and bring it over here. You ain't using that stuff no way.
Yep.
Shift it. You know, if we want it, we have to invest in it. Period.
Exactly.
There's no way around
I
it.
concur.
If we want it, if we want this feeling, we want to duplicate this feeling. We want to feel ownership. We want people that's going to speak life into us and speak positivity into us. We have to invest in it instead of turning around and investing in the negativity, nodding our head to this, and then going and investing in the stuff that's killing us. We have to turn it around. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if take the baby steps. If you have to take the baby steps, just take the steps. Absolutely. And that's what we're doing with African-centered education. We're taking the steps, period. We're laying the foundation, and we're training the next generation to take it to the next level.
And so, and it's so good you said that, because whether it's what you're doing or what I'm doing, what we're being Lotus is doing, you know, I think a lot of times people get frustrated because it does take some time to do it. And a lot of times we have this new microwave mentality that we want everything right now. We want the gratification and the glorification right now. And I understand the whole purpose of the journey as it is. So now you have put the work in behind it. So now the fruits of the labor is starting to show, and it's showing through the kids doing such a great job, and now even the parents embracing, doing a great job as well. You know.
We have some working definitions at our school. One of them is patience means anger. I mean, it means waiting without anger, right? So everything we do requires patience. We have an African proverb that we study: slow and steady wins the race, right? And then a scenario, we talk about the Great Pyramid, the Pyramid of Giza, the greatest structure ever built in ancient Kemet. The Pyramid of Giza took 2,300,000 stones to build it. The average weight of each stone is 3 tons. It's 48 stories high, 755 feet wide, took over 60 years to build. And I always ask my students after we run down the dimensions, what if you laid that first brick, that first 3-ton brick, and you got over 2 million bricks to go? What type of vision did they have to be working with to say, you know what, we gonna get this finished. We gonna finish this project. I see the 2 million bricks before somebody had to lay that first brick, and chances are they wasn't gonna see the finished product. But they had to lay the first brick, and they had to lay it in perfect position, because if they didn't, it would have thrown off the whole project. There's honor in laying the first brick. Lay it right, lay it correctly, and don't get caught up in the fact that you might not see the final brick get put on the pyramid.
I have 2 comments, if I may. One comment out of California, Lakisa Anderson, she said, this is so true. She said she lived overseas for 20 years and she never felt so much hate for just the color of her skin until coming back in 2013. She said that she's from California. She says she's a new entrepreneur and she's helping widows win. She said we have to invest in ourselves and each other. Other coaches have and are still doing it for years.
When we lost our value, you don't invest in things that you feel like doesn't have any value.
Right.
So when you're growing up in a school system that does not teach you your value, it teaches you to get away from who you are so you can make it. You're not going to invest in something you're trying to get away from. And so African-centered education helps us gain that value back. We need to get that back to understand the value. Black Wall Street in Tulsa, the dollar circulated in that community for 11 months before it left.
Right.
And it wasn't the only Black community like that. You had Black communities like that in Florida. You had Black communities like that in Texas. You had Black communities like that in the Carolinas. There was more than one Black Wall Street. and our dollar circulated, not just because other folk wouldn't do business with us, but also because we did great business with each other. We were the best builders. We were the best workers. Hell, they worked us for 300 years. We had skill. Mm-hmm. And we circulated our dollar inside our community for 11 months. That hasn't been duplicated since. When we talk about, we don't know how to come together. We've come together better than anybody. We just have to get that knowledge back, because the Asian community don't circulate their dollar for 11 months. The white community don't circulate their dollar for 11 months. They do it more than we do. Hell, our dollar stays in our community for only 6 hours now.
6 hours.
But we have examples of when it stayed in our community for 11 months before it left.
Yep. And I think it's about the way that we think as well. I tend to encourage people to change the way they think about money, because when you embrace money as your friend and you circulate money, the vibration of the circulation will draw that money back to you. And we have to move from the thought of that we're spending money, because when you spend money, it don't come back. But when you circulate it, and here's the kick, when you circulate it within your community, it helps to build your community and enhance your community, which makes a huge difference. And I put down, please feel free to call in with your questions or comments. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, don't hesitate to call in to 470-251-4647. Again, that's 470-251-4647. And Kevin is standing by the phone.
That I am. Yeah. So what you say is very true, because I have said that a long time ago. In the Asian community, the dollar circulates for, I think, 39 days. And then in the Jewish community, it circulates for 19 days. And then for us, it's 6 hours. And then that's something that we have to really change.
Yeah. And people got to understand this too. We don't all have to be best friends to do it.
Right.
Like Asian people, as long as that dollar stay in the community, at the same time, it's Asian people that treat Asian people like crap. Mm-hmm. White folks kill white folks every day. Mm-hmm. But the common denominator, though, at the end of the day, they know they're Asian. They know they have a culture. They know that it's within their best interest to circulate their dollars within that culture and institutionalize that culture and deal with their negatives within their own house and not allow others to exploit them based on those negatives. We're the only people that'll get up and say, well, we need to stop killing each other first. This is America. Violence is a part of American culture. And if your goal is to be the only group of people in America that does not commit fratricide, and you think you got to do that first before you can accomplish something, good luck to you.
And then we got to also change, our excuses or our experiences that we feel we have dealing with our own community with entrepreneurship, because the first thing you'll hear a lot of people say is, I don't deal with our own because they have bad customer service. But you could go to a white company and get bad customer service and you go back.
Absolutely. Sometimes we think because somebody talking proper, they're not being rude.
Yes. And let me say this. This is one thing that I learned and I've understood this. And you can see it as plain as the nose on your face. A lot of times people will talk to you and they'll talk down to you because of the color of your skin. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, because Oprah Winfrey is a prime example of that. She was overseas. She went in the store, wanted to buy a purse. Okay. The lady had no idea who she was. And instead of giving Oprah the purse, when Oprah requested to see the purse, the lady first cautioned her that it's pricey. Mm-hmm. Okay. This happened to me not too long ago. I was in New Jersey in a jewelry store. I wanted to buy this new watch, and I like Boulevars. Okay. So the gentleman said to me, they're pricey. And I laughed at it in his face in a way that was kind of I'm laughing at you because how dare you even put out that it's pricey without first saying, oh, thank you, here's the watch. Here, let me put it in your hand. Yes. It's pricey, but it's great because of this, and that. So I looked at it, and I started to kind of talk to him about the watch. And I said to him, yes, I'm very aware that it's pricey. I owned several Boulevars in the past, and I own Boulevards now. But it's the quality of the Boulevard that I'm really interested in, blah, blah. And I started talking to him on that level to let him know that you're not dealing with just anybody that's coming in here wanting to buy a watch. And how dare you? Because it's an affront to my intelligence to think that I'm asking for something and I have no idea what it is. And you know what? Even if I didn't, as a good salesperson, it was his job to educate me if I was ignorant.
He was working on some
it.
preconceived notions.
Exactly.
He was
And
working on some
unfortunately,
preconceived notions.
we
And he
do
didn't
the
deserve to
same
make
thing
a
with our
sale that
own
day.
culture.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know? Exactly. So, you know, we got to really be careful about how we handle each other
Well,
too,
I'm going
because
to tell
you
y'all
use
one
the
of the
word.
things, and I don't propose to have all the solutions. I consider myself a solutionary, you know. And one of the things is, this is why building schools is so important for the business community, because a school gives a community for businesses to rally around.
Yes.
Y'all, when I expose my parents to businesses that support the school, they support the business.
Right.
Because they understand that it's all or nothing with our school, with the government.
Yes.
So when I go out and I create, for example, and I like to shout out my brother Daniel here in South Carolina at Computer Unique. Y'all go see Computer Unique for all your computer needs. He fixes all of our computers for free. In exchange, I tell my parents and everybody connected to us, if you want to get a computer fix, go to Computer Unique, because they support African-centered education. And so a school can become a marketing hub for businesses. It can be the hub. We're rallying around who? Our children. And if we can rally the business community around our children, then that relationship, that contentious relationship, now when you meet your new customer, you're meeting based on a mission, not just based on your product. And so now that I know that you're aware enough to support African-centered education, and you know that they're aware enough to put their child in that situation, then we're aware enough to do business with one another.
Brother, I wanted to also say this, because you use the word, and it goes back to enlightening one another. You use the word fratricide. And I had never heard, you know, the word fratricide. I heard of fraternization. I'm prior military, so we know don't be fraternizing, right?
Yes.
But fratricide, I had never heard of that word. So I looked it up, and I asked somebody to put it in the list below. And just to pass this on, and thank you for educating us and enlightening us, the word fratricide is the act of killing one's brother, which we are dying in the streets every day because we are not showing love, and we're killing one another at an all-time high, more than police officers, more than Caucasians or Latinos are killing us. We are killing ourselves. So, brother, how can we talk to that point? How can we change that?
One of the things that I found most effective, and I've actually negotiated truces between rival street gangs, and I've been in the thick of things in my career. I've been working with our people for 30 years. And one of the things that I find to be most effective, again, especially when I'm coming from a cultural framework, is to remind our people that we need to stop those things. Yes, so-called black on black crime and that sort of thing. The main thing is you're not doing it because you're black. Let's stop that.
Yes.
You're not killing blacks. Don't kill blacks because we're black. Our blackness isn't what causes us to do that. We live in a violent culture. Y'all need to understand that. You know, we live in a violent culture. So proximity has more to do with the violence in our community than color. When you're poor and you're desperate, or if you're angry and you're mentally out of balance, you're gonna take it out on the people within your reach. And 9 times out of 10, those people are gonna look just like you. So you have to deal with those things that are taking you out of balance. Right. What we do is we put it on something that we can't cure. We need to stop the black on black, and we make it black. Well, you can't cure blackness. You're not gonna cure that. So no, that's not why we're killing each other. See, that's parroting the Ku Klux Klan. That's parroting them. So the first thing is to say this ain't black on black crime. This is crime. And black folk need to be like, if we're black, we need to get away from crime. Well, how do you get away from crime? You got to create better conditions. You have to do it. There's no way around it, right? We need to get away from black on black violence. No, we need to get away from violence. So how do we do that?
Right.
Let's focus on violence. When you put the black on it, you're saying there's something different about black violence than other violence. Like we have some special kind of violence. No, it's violence. So why did he kill his mate? Why did this happen? What is going on? Let's rehumanize those that have been dehumanized. Remember when crack cocaine first hit our community, we used to call drug addicts by their name. Man, Miss Lisa smoking crack. About 10 years from that, it wasn't even Miss Lisa no more. There go that dope fiend.
That crackhead.
There go that crackhead. So now you dehumanized it, and that desensitized us to it. So when speaking to black on black violence, I speak to violence, and I rehumanize us as a people first. Because I have to rehumanize you. You're not a nigga. You're not that thug. You're not that B. You're not that savage. You're not that beast. Let's rehumanize you first. And then let's see why you so mad. What happened? Was it daddy leaving? What happened? Where did it go wrong? How do we bring balance to that situation?
Absolutely.
You don't black is you're doing this in spite of being black, not because you're black. You're overcoming your nature as a black person to be violent. Right. Because if we were naturally violent, we'd attack white folks and went out in the smoke of dust a long time ago.
Wow.
Naturally violent people fight everybody. They don't just fight the people that look like them.
Right, that's true.
Naturally violent people fight everybody. There are whole populations that have been wiped out because they wasn't gonna stop fighting. That's not our nature.
Now, I have a question. Do you think that violence is perpetuated by what we expose ourselves to?
I absolutely believe that. And I believe that in this society, in this country, you're exposed to violence at a very, very early age. And you're exposed to violence as a solution, not just physical violence, but emotional violence as well as a solution to problems. And particularly if you're black and you're in the school system, going back to that, how do they deal with problems in the school system? They're punitive. They're violent. To handcuff a 6-year-old is violent. To tell a young man, you know what, you straighten up or you're gonna be dead or in jail. That's a violent statement. Yes, so we're exposed to a violent perspective from early on. So if my perspective is violence, then chances are I'm gonna act out violently, either emotionally violent or physically violent toward myself or toward others. Perspective. Right. You look at TV, how do your heroes handle it? Captain America don't do peace deals, and Iron Man, they not negotiating peace treaties. They shooting people with lasers and hitting them with metal shields and beating the hell out of them. They're using violence.
Yeah, and I looked at there's a report called the ESA, and it talks about essential facts about games and violence. And if you look at the report, if you look at the report, it talks about in 1998, that the rate of violent crimes were high in 1998, and then it trickled down to 2015. Now, this is the funny thing that I looked at. Who's writing these statistics? Because in 1998, there were not a whole lot of violent games. There were Kung Fu Fighter, stuff like that. Back then you had Frogger and Donkey Kong still in the mix from the 80s. But as the games become more violent, they're trying to perpetuate that violence has decreased over time, which makes me wonder, because people are watching these violent things over and over and over again. And you cannot tell me, as a person who studies psychology, I have a psychology degree, you can't tell me that it does not have an effect on the way you think and the way you behave. So my question is, one, are we tainting or leveraging our ability to say what statistics will purport so that we can sell more violent games, so that we can watch more violent television,
Well,
and peddle it off like it's not happening?
at the end of the day, sex and violence sells. Sex and violence sells. Okay. And this is a society that perpetuates sex and violence to sell, not just in our community. That's the American way, is sex and violence. In between rounds at the boxing match, a half-naked girl walks around with a card with a number on it. That's the sex. Then the bell rings, you get the violence. So we live in a society built on that formula: sex and violence sell. And what selling sex and violence does too is keep people in their base desires so they won't ask hard questions. See, violence is living in a nation that can afford to house everyone, but still allows homelessness to happen. That's violence. Poverty is violence. Dr. King was killed because he was attacking capitalism, capitalist greed. Dr. King was talking about a universal income to fight poverty. He was talking about guaranteed housing for everyone, and he crunched the numbers. Violence, that's by teaching, having children in a school and not teaching them their heritage beyond their enslavement to you is violent. Sending a child to prison, to jail for being class clown is violent. A $500 ticket to a poor family because they child got into a fight at school, giving that single mother a ticket for $500 and threatening to lock her up if she don't pay it, that's violence. You want to see violence, visit a U.S. courtroom with a young black male in there who may not have made a mistake and gets open sentence and gets no kind of empathy whatsoever for a situation. That's where you see violence. So when people tell me to stop the violence, I got a whole bunch of violence that we need to stop before we even get to the hood.
And you have Miss Anderson out of California. She says that's powerful. She loves it. And Shanette Abney, I hope I pronounced your name right. Thank you for joining us, Shanette. We're happy to have you. If you have any questions or would like to make a comment, please list your comment down below. And Miss Abney, let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you have a question or comment, feel free to call 470-251-4647 here at the Kevin Thornton Wellness Architect Show. Kevin Thornton is standing by to take your call.
And with that being said, I'm to be the bearer of bad news, but we are out of time. So before we leave, I want Brother Amen to give some final jewels. So whatever's on your spirit at this moment, please say it to the listeners.
Well, what's on my spirit is to first thank the Creator and thank the ancestors for another opportunity to share what's on my heart, to share what I've been blessed to learn over the years through this work, and to do that alongside two very powerful and intelligent people of African descent. It's been an honor to be on this panel with you all tonight, and I pray that we have the opportunity to do this again real soon. I want to let everyone out there know that our children are special and they are not to be played with. And they are the most sound investment that we can make. And we have to start standing up for our children, advocating for our children. We have to write the narrative on our children. We have to insist that they are not the most violent. We have to insist that they are not the dumb ones. They are not the ones in the back of the class. They are not the ones that don't want to learn. They absolutely want to learn. And we can't allow anybody to take us off our square. There is a war going on, and the war is for the minds of our youth, because whatever they support is successful. Just ask Phil Knight and Nike. Just ask Ralph Lauren and Polo. Whoever we support is successful. So we have to rally around African-centered education. We have to rally around creating programs for our children. I want everyone to consider supporting the Uhuru Academy. Right now, our main goal is to build up our South Carolina campus. We're having full-time school every day, but of course, we need that support to keep it going. We have a program called the Uhuru Sustaining Stars. If you go, then I'll put it in the comments, uhuruacademysc.org. The Uhuru Sustaining Stars is where you can give a monthly donation to the Uhuru Academy. We're a licensed 501c3, by the way. You can give a monthly donation, $25, $50, $100, $250 per month that will go towards building our agri-science program and educating our children in real time. Not what we're going to do, but what we're currently doing right now. And if you would consider putting Uhuru Academy in your budget, then you can go to bed at night knowing that you are truly a part of the solution with people who are going to be good stewards of your investment. And so there are things to do. There are ways to support our young people. We have a webinar coming up this Saturday, and you can visit my pages here. I got my Instagram up there, and you can find me on Facebook. But I'm doing a webinar this Saturday from 11 to 2 Eastern time called Mission Empowerment, Me Incorporated. It's for young people between the ages of 16 and 24. I want your 16, your 18, your 19, your 24-year-old to jump on this so we can have some real talk. We provide them with some real solutions, some real resources to get out there and make something happen for themselves. So just what's on my mind is always the work, because there's work to get done. We are beautiful people. We are divine people, but we just need to see it. And that doesn't diminish anyone who feels diminished by your divinity. They must feel like that their divinity hinges upon you not being divine. So if we can't talk about ourselves like this in front of other folk, or if other folk don't want to hear it, that's their problem. This is what our children need to hear. They need to hear you're great. They need to hear I love you. They need to hear you're beautiful. They need to hear that you're powerful on a regular basis, and you need to mean it when you say it.
Awesome.
Lotus.
Awesome. So special shout out to all of our viewers. Gary Hampton just joined us. Good to see you.
G-Ham. I know G-Ham.
So thank you for joining us. Please join us every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the Kevin Thornton Wellness Architect Show. You can also reach me at Lotus Riche Ignite on my Facebook platform every week. You can reach me at 1-800-593-9733. I am taking one-on-one clients. I also work with international clients all over the world. So don't hesitate to give me a call, check me out on Facebook, check me out on YouTube, and please support the Kevin Thornton Wellness Architect Show. We're here every Monday with powerful speakers, just like you heard today. And please check us out on YouTube. Go support us. And also, Kevin's going to tell you about the link. If you want to make donations, you can also do that for the Kevin Thornton Wellness Architect Show, as well as the Lotus Riche Ignites. PayPal will put that information down for you, and Kevin will tell you about it as well.
So first of all, I want to thank Brother Amen for being on the show. You were amazing, sir. Okay. Well, I want to say to you first, I go to South Carolina often, so I want to stay in contact with you. So maybe maybe we could do something. I will come to South Carolina for you. So let's stay in contact, and so I can be helpful to you and your kids any way I can.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
With that being said, you can reach me at the Wellness Architect on Facebook, or also Kevin Thornton. I am taking one-on-one life coaching clients face-to-face or online, so I can do international as well, all across the United States. So just feel free to DM me or hit me on Facebook, or you could email me at kevint211@hotmail.com and put coaching in the subject. I will put my information of how if you want to support the Wellness Architect Show and you want to keep on bringing us good people like Brother Amen to the show, and you want to support us any kind of way you can, I'll put that information in the comments as well. Finally, next week will be the February month of the Men Roundtable.
Yes.
So this time we're going to have the millennials by themselves. We're going to have a conversation with them. We're going to try to get to understand who they are and let them talk to us who they are and not what we think they are. Because I think a lot of times we pass a judgment on who we think they are based on our experiences with our family members or people we work with, and that's not the totality of who the millennials are. So with that being said, we're gonna have a great conversation, and this is gonna be my whole 2020 brand of rebranding the essence of who we are as Black men. So with that being said, continue to join the show. See you next week. Next week's my birthday show, so tune in. Thank you all for you listening, tuning in again. Brother Amen, I will be in touch. I will definitely want to come to South Carolina and help out any way I can, okay? All right. So with that being said, this is the Wonder Architect Show. Be great, be authentic, and we are out. Peace.
Peace.